Okay. Um, Welcome to this class. I'll be briefly presenting to you the curriculum guide for Arling Palipunan for grades 4 to 10. Um, Specifically, the introductory parts. Ako to part concerning the curriculum shape of Arling Palipunan. Then, yeah, basically the deduction. So, the subject is teaching social studies in intermediate grades, and presumably that refers to grades 4 to 6, di ba? So yes, we'll have a laser focus on those grades later on. But I'd like you to have a big picture. Sama dyan ang Araling Palipunan. The field has been a subject of debate. Kung sama dyan ang Araling Palipunan, and in our first meeting, we talked about the different traditions, di ba? In social studies, there's the social science tradition, there's the personal development tradition, we have the other traditions like citizenship transmission tradition. So there are many conceptions of what social studies aims to do, what its curriculum should involve, daghan pa, debates about that. But we're now looking at the conception of Araling Palipunan based on DepEd, the conception that is promulgated by DepEd. So let's start with the first page. The first section is titled Curriculum Shape of Araling Palipunan. Goes, layunin ng papel na ito na maging gabay sa pagpapayaman ng kurikulum ng Araling Palipunan. Binibigyang linaw nito ang mga batayang kaisipang maging sentro ng pinagyamang kurikulum ng nasabing asignatura. So, we find there stated that the focus is on the key concepts, diba? Batayang kaisipan that will become central that has become central in developing this improved curriculum. So, gayon din naman, tatalakayin ng papel na ito ang iba pang mga sasagawang mga hakbang na magbibigay direksyon sa pagpapayaman ng curriculum. It's the first paragraph. Next, itinuturing ang curriculum bilang blueprint ng mga naisin na maisakatuparan ng isang lipunan. So, we see here how when we teach social studies, we're actually doing something that the society wants us to do. In short, we're not just teaching what we want to teach, di ba? There's a pressure from society telling us, mo ni ang angay na itong itudlo. These values should be instilled among the students. And that idea bitaw that teaching is not neutral. Instead, it's that it should be shaped. The curriculum in particular, what schools should teach, should be shaped by the expectations of society on the school regarding the content. That goes back atras pa, way back, even to the Greeks, no? Back to Plato. In the Republic, he talks about how education is about turning of the psyche, yes. But later on, we'll talk about, for example, in the laws, talk about as well how the state, ruled by presumably a philosopher king, no? Somebody who knows about the welfare of the people. The state will guide, no, teachers how and what to teach. So that notion, of course, presumes that maayo ang mga policymakers regarding education, legislators, and so on. But yeah, we're carrying something more than ourselves when we teach, especially Araling Palipunan. So, blueprint. Sa man nga blueprint? Sinasaklaw nito ang malaking bahagi ng sistemang edukasyon, maging ang mga mekanismong kaakibat nito tulad ng suporta ng pamilya at pamahalaan. Sa katunayan, malaki ang implikasyon ng kurikulum hindi lamang sa edukasyon bilang institusyong panlipunan, kundi maging sa pangkabuuang kalagayan ng isang bansa. So, that's what I've been saying, no? The curriculum is not something that is just up to us, no, how we teach. It is tied to the holistic development and status of the entire country. So, If bad ang curriculum, of course, that has ramifications regarding the status of the country. Diba? Sa usapin ng instruksyon, ginagamit itong batayan ng mga programa at inisyatibong inaasahang makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral at guro upang maisakatuparan ng mga pamantayang nakapaloob dito. Ang halaga ng kurikulum ay nakasalalay sa kakayahan nitong umagapay sa nagbabago at dinamikong kalagayan ng lipunan. Right. So daw, the value of the curriculum ko do rests on its capacity, kakayahan to adapt to the dynamic condition of society. So again, the subject is Araling Palipunan o Social Studies. Do you think society as it existed a decade ago is the same as it is now? Of course, dili na. No? Society has been changing in daghang nahitabo every day. No? Every succeeding day, daghang additional dimension nga na-fresh out sa society. And therefore, yeah, the teaching of social studies should adapt accordingly. If we do not adapt, then we cannot teach society well. We can only teach society well if we match how dynamic society is. Ano yung punto ni? That sentence. So, yeah, we cannot allow ourselves to be trapped into simplistic ideas like we just teach, for example, Philippine history, pamemorize lang mga bata o ganang mga names of heroes, name dates, no? No, that can't be it. So studies is way, way deeper than that, and it should be compatible with, example, changing accepted ideas about what is historical, di ba? Because sometimes we have to make a distinction. I'm sure you've heard about historical revisionism, di ba? Now, usually, mura tag mubangga when somebody tries to run against what we are taught sa eskwelahan about what's history, may nga fake man na, no? But actually, we need to distinguish between two notions about revision of history. Duha na sila. Some aspects of that are good. Usahay good na siya that we revise history. And sometimes dili pod. Ano sa man na sa mga good? For example, the historian of Ateneo, si Dr. Emilio Campo, has been arguing that sometimes historians, professional historians, encounter new documents. When they go, for example, to libraries, no, sa UST, sa Spain, and so on, sometimes new documents are being discovered, no, which force us to rethink the conclusions made by historians before. Of course, the historians nga na to before, they're not perfect. Pero sila gasulat sa itong mga textbooks, and therefore, it's unavoidable nga usahay na maapilan nga mga ginagmay nga errors. May na ginagmay, right? So in that case, when the revision of history is because of that encounter with a new set of documents, no, or contemporary historians, for example, identify errors in the inferences made by previous historians. So that can be a legitimate changing of history. We call that historical revision, revisionism. But that doesn't mean that all types of attempts to change history are good, because naapot tay gitawag og historical distortion. Mo ni sayop, no, kan historical distortion kana bitaw. We change the story about the past simply to fit the narrative that we want to portray. Natay propaganda ba? And we want the propaganda to be supported supposedly by our own version of history, which is not supported with the facts. So, kana palang daan, history palang angle sa Araling Palipunan is already changing because the conversations among historians are still ongoing. No? We have to read, no? For example, journals on Philippine history, for example, Philippine studies, di ba? Historiographic and ethnographic viewpoints. Many other journals talking about the developments in the field of history. That's just history. And you have learned in our first meeting that Araling Palipunan is way bigger than history. Apel pa ang sa mga fields, sociology, economics, di ba? We also have geography. Each of those disciplines are still developing up to today, no? And magpadayon pa na siya in the future, and therefore, yeah, I admit teaching social studies is really difficult. It's a challenge, no? But I know you can do it. Given time, given effort. perhaps dili pa karon because yeah, it's really difficult. For example, isa lang mo galit to teach, for example, about the martial law. Sugot mo na, patudoon mo dito sa ugma na og martial law. Lisod, right? Even ako, admittedly, hindi ko dayon mo dawat ana because I still need to revisit the documents. No? For example, we mubasa kag one book. Of course, if you just read one book, the danger there is you cannot identify which aspects ana are historical and which aspects are just interpretations of the author, di ba? So you need to read a lot kay aron you can compare different perspectives about what happened during the events. And you need to read primary sources, but even primary sources are not biased or are biased as well, di ba? Di ba? We compare and contrast even the most reliable sources we have kay dili gyapon sila mag-match, right? So my point is, sakto yung ning sentence, no? The sentence which states that um, araling palipunan must adapt to how that lipunan changes, no? All the time. Dili lang ang disciplines and change, even the society itself being studied by the different disciplines changes all the time. Tinga na lang tagkalit, no? Because just a few years ago, Duterte was our president, but karon ni kalit usig abot sa Hague, di ba? Tinga lang just a few years ago nga ganang um, Bongbong and Sara were running as a team, di ba? But karon naunsa naman na, right? Natinga na lamang ta because Lenny has been sana saying nga dili siya mulansar pero kanunay malagi murag magpadungog-dungog nga mulansar sa man jud maglibog ta, right? So even society itself, that the different discipline study is changing. Samot ang mga disciplines which study society changing gihapon. So yeah, mo nang the very first activity that I gave you was a debate, di ba? O dito debate kanang presentation of different aspects of a debate, right? Different sides of a debate, different angles. Precisely because you must see how in social studies we do not take facts for granted. No? Even those very facts are contested. So what we study are contestations, these issues, and how different people have different versions of those issues, and kung sa ramifications nila to society. Because we live in a VUCA world, di ba? Kung sa VUCA, volatile world. In this volatile world, simplistic narratives, of course, fail to capture the nuances sa reality. Man, let's not sit in oversimplifications. All right. Di basta. So, we talked about how dynamic society is, di ba? Makikita ang mga katangiang ito sa Arlig Palipunan bilang isang pangunahing asignatura sa K-12. Sa mga nagdaang reforma at pagbabago sa edukasyong pang-elementarya at sekundarya, mahalaga ang bahaging ginagampanan ng Arlig Palipunan bilang haligi ng pagsasakatuparan ng pambansang pagkakakilanlan sa sarili or national self-identity. So, this is basically saying that across the different versions of the curriculum, di ba, daghan mo na yung changes sa curriculum, the role of Araling Palipunan has been constant, no? So, man yung role? It's to, what? Teach students about our national identity. Kinsa magyud ang Filipino? What does it mean to be Filipino? Ito si Magellan, di ba? Ako sa papel sa Philippine history. Namatay man siya by the hands of the soldiers, for example, of mga tao-tao ni Lapu-Lapu. And we usually treat Lapu-Lapu as a hero. Question, is Lapu-Lapu already a Philippine hero? Was there already a Philippines at the time? Kano sa maging nagsugod ang notion of a Philippines? So, these problematizations ba, apparently, usually, we don't think about Lapu-Lapu just, we do not question ba nga, in what sense was Lapu-Lapu a hero? Is he a hero for the Philippines or just sa iyang barangay, right? Or sa iyang isla or sa iyang banwa, quote, may tawag nila, diba? Sa banwa. Is he fighting for unified Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao? Is that really what's behind his mind? And if ang iharang banwa ang iyang ganun na, what does it imply about whether we call him a national hero? Right? Tamblot, for example, was Tamblot fighting for the Philippines? Or just for lang iyang dinaras buhol? No? Dagohoy, for example. But we talk about these people as national heroes. So, dako na siya nga conversation as well. We'll talk about that across the semester. No, but the punto is, Araling Palipunan has been playing that role, no, of raising these questions about who are we. Good. Is Filipino-ness already there before the arrival of the Spaniards? Do we say that katong mga tribo-tribo before arrival of the Spaniards mo dito tinuod nga Filipino, and then na hugaw siya tungod sa Catholic influence, Spanish influence? So does that mean we have to go back to animism, pagan religions? Is that it? Or has Catholicism already become part of who we are, such that di na to na siya maibot, such that if tang-taon na to tong pagkatoliko, dili na po ta Filipino? Is that it? So what does it really mean to be a Filipino? So these questions have to be raised over and over again because we are a people in quest for an identity. And Araling Palipunan has been facing that head on, no kana ang question. Different topics from history to sociology and so on. Alright? So, basta. Mula sa makabayan ng 2002 Basic Education Curriculum, ang mga katawagang sibika at kultura, di ba? Hekasi or Heograpiya, Kasaysayan at Sibika, at later on, Araling Palipunan, AP, hanggang sa kasalukuyan nitong pangalan, higit na binigyang diin ng kasalukuyang kurikulum ng AP ang kahusayang pansibiko or civic competence. Okay? If you read the literature on Araling Palipunan, at least sa Amerika or even in different parts of the globe, scholars, for example, in Canada, for example, katong si Peter Seixas is a top historian, top scholar regarding Araling Palipunan education or social studies education. And para niya gyud, no? Dili gyud mawa sa Araling Palipunan, no matter how sophisticated we become. Dili gyud mawa ang singular aim, which is what? To instill in students civic competence. Civic competence. Let's say another term for that, because that historical consciousness. But it's all about kada bitong ibton ang apathy sa bata. Ano man ang apathy? Kanang pagkaway paki. Di ba? Which is of course the easy thing to do. We just live our lives not caring about what's happening in society. Sige na lang magutag scroll sa Facebook, di ba? Sige na tag tabi, chika, chismis, right? Without caring about social issues, diba? Social problems, social patterns, anything. That's what we call apathy, and that's the default position for many of us, because kinsa ko'y ganahan maghago-hago o gunahuna sa mga problema sa kalibutan, right? But Araling Palipunan precisely is that discipline which forces you to face those problems head on. Kaya dili bitaw kanang bungkagon to nga apathy, katong complacency. Because if you do not care about these issues, you will become a victim. Sooner or later, di pa natin karon. But yeah, that's the assertion of Araling Palipunan, that bahalag ma-stress ta, but we have to talk about these issues. Because we're part of a social community, di ba? And sometimes the solution can only lie from in us kita makasulbad. So, yeah, we are standing on that hope. Perhaps dili ta makasulbad, but perhaps we can teach students nga sila ang makasulbad, right? So it's that hope. Without that hope, social studies will cease to exist. Mawa ang sense. Iasa man tanan ng memorization diha, no? Kung that gist of raising the social awareness, consciousness of the students, it mawa na siya. You can erase all those activities nga magsig memorize if you retain just that awakening of their social consciousness, historical consciousness, then you can succeed already. Then we proceed with the next paragraph. Sa pagpapatupad ng K-12 curriculum, nagkaroon ng malaking pagbabago ang disenyo ng curriculum at nilalaman ng Araling Palipunan. Pangunahin dito ang pagsisimula ng pagtuturo ng asignaturang ito sa ika-4 na baitang, sapagkat ang unang yugto ng pagkatuto ay binibigyang diin ang mga kaisipan ng makabansa. Basically, sa karon nga curriculum, ang main jud nga kausaban kay ang Araling Palipunan gisugod dagit sa grade 4. Before that, we don't call the subject Araling Palipunan. We call it Makabansa. Grade 1 to 3, that's Makabansa. Araling Palipunan only starts with grade 4. 4, 5, 6 onwards. Okay? Then we proceed. Nakapaloob sa Makabansa ang mahalagang konsepto at kaugnay na kaalaman na makatutulong sa pagsasakatuparan ng mga pamantayang pangkurikulum at kasanayan sa pagkatuto ng Araling Palipunan sa unang yugto ng pagtuto. Ano to siya? So, Makabansa, basically, katong pag grade 1 to grade 4 is laying the foundation. It prepares the students to eventually, later on, engage in the deeper inquiry into society. Pero kana mo dyan ay major change, no? That today, Araling Palipunan formally starts only with grade 4. Before that, it's Makabansa, which is only preparatory to Araling Palipunan. Unlike in our time, Araling Palipunan na nasa daan. Alright. Isa rin sa pagbabago ng kasalukuyang kurikulum ay ang pagtawid ng pagtuturo ng kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, particular sa baitang 5, 6 at 7 na may layuning na bigyan ng sapat na pagkakataon ang mga guro na maisakatuparan ang pamantayan sa pagkatuto at pagnilalaman na siyang magpapalalim at pag-unawa ng mga mag-aaral ukol sa kasaysayan ng bansa. So, kasi pasabutan na, basically, gilapad na, no? Meaning gisud na ang Philippine history from grade 5 to 6 to 7. So 3 years, no, magtuon ang students sa Philippine history. Before dili ko na no? At least in sa previous nga version of the Araling Palipunan curriculum, grade 7 is Asian Studies, not Philippine history. Why labot ang Philippine history? Grade 8 is World History. Grade 9 is Economics. Grade 10 is Contemporary Issues. So, Philippine history was lost sa high school, junior high school at the time. At least now, sa grade 7, gibalik ang Philippine history. Nganong gitawag da sa karon og Pilipinas sa timog silangang Asya. Di ba? So there's that bridge na. Yes, we talk about Asia, but particularly centering on the Philippines as country in that region. Di ba? And sa grades 5 and 6, Philippine history. Samantalang ang senior high school naman ay nakatuon sa paghahanda para sa iba't ibang larangan ng pag-aaral matapos ang baitang 12. If you've heard the developments recently, na ay bagong subject sa grade 12, right? Gitangtang ang understanding culture, society, politics, nawa tong introduction to the philosophy of man. Gihimo siyang usa ka year-long subject, di ba? We call that PKLP, di ba? Sige na to, I think that means pag-aaral ng kasaysayan at lipunan ng Pilipinas. Something like that. It's PKLP. Akong i-search siya. PKLP. Senior high. Malagi. Pag-aaral ng kasaysayan at lipunang Pilipino din. Pag-aaral ng kasaysayan at lipunang Pilipino. So, in senior high, balikan pa ni siya. But I've also studied that curriculum sa senior high. It's no longer focusing on the history part. Medyo na sa focus gamay sa sociology sa Philippines. Nagamay kasaysayan, but dili na the survey bitaw of history from the pre-colonial times to the present, dili ko na. Sa senior high, igo na lang siya thematically focus on certain issues, no? Aiming to increase historical consciousness. So, yeah, and then afterwards, balik ang Philippine history in college, di ba? With the subject readings and Philippine history, which is different from elementary and common grade 7 because sa college, we already assume that you already have that basic knowledge sa tanan about Philippine history, meaning you can explain Philippine history na basically. That's the assumption na you can explain its more bit of cause and consequence, cause and effect. It's basic periodization, and then given that assumption, given that background, you can already attack the primary sources head-on. Mo dyan na, sa reading sa critical study. You read and study primary sources. That's for college. We cannot expect that same level of difficulty for grade 6, no? Grade 5. The aim primarily of grade 5 and 6 is to form a sense of identity, national identity among the young learners. And one part of that identity is telling them, kinsa man ko as a Filipino, right? Unsa may story in which I belong to, di ba? Kasi story sa akong bigger society nga akong gibilongan, right? Right. That's the simple aim, grade 5 to 6. Then 7, we expand that. No? We call that the expanding horizons model, di ba? The expanding horizons model kay the horizon begins with the country and then we go to Southeast Asia, Lapad siya, and then world, right? World. Grade 8. Right. Isang dekada na ang nakalipas. Right. Simula nang ipatupad ang nasabing curriculum. So, kanasa man to 2013, di ba? Karon 2023, hagbay ra ning 10 years, 2026 na. So, isang dekada na kuno ang nakalipas simula na ipatupad ang nasabing curriculum. Kaya minarapat ng kawanihan ng pagpapaunlad ng curriculum or the Bureau of Curriculum Development na suriin ito upang higit na mapaunlad at maging kapakipakinabang sa buhay ng mga Pilipinong mag-aaral. So, it's time to change na kuno. Nakita sa pagsusuri sa tulong ng ilang dalubhasa sa loob at sa labas na bansa at ng piling guro ng kagawaran na ang ilang baitang sa kasalukuyang kurikulum ay kinakitaan ng congestion. Ano ba ng congestion? Na, i-explain na rin. Congestion simply means, naka-observe ko no ang mga experts sa curriculum sa katong 2013 nga version that kinadaghanan kay topics, no? There are so many topics that have to be tackled in a single week. Ngunit congestion, gaguot ba? Daghan kay kag dapat mahisgutan within a single week. Unsay problem with that? There's no mastery the students, di ba? Because before makamaster, lahi na pong topic next week, di ba? Before makamaster sa lessons in this week, lahi na po. Tungod kay daghan kayo og kanang gi-require nga dapat matudlo, no, sa students. That's the problem of congestion observed by the experts, no, sa DepEd. Isa ito sa mga dahilan kung bakit marami sa mga guro ang hindi natatapos ang malaking bahagi ng kasanayang pampagkatuto or learning competencies sa itinakdang panahon na may malaki namang implikasyon sa pag-abot ng mga aaral sa pamantayang pangnilalaman or content standards at pamantayan sa pagganap or performance standards. Bukod pa rito, ang dami o bigat ng nilalaman na nagtutulak sa mga gurong lumikha ng espesipikong instructional objective para maituro ang nilalaman na siyang tuntungan para makamit ang learning competency. So bugat, not only is there congestion, no, in the list of topics na daghan kayo. Each topic pag yun nga gisod, bugat sa daan. So bugat pa, daghan pa, ang resulta, buang ang maestra, no? Sud kay tudlo, no? Or kung di magani, kung kamao jud ang maestra, bisan pag kamaong maestra, ang students na pod ang mag-suffer, di ba? Because there's no mastery. Ambak-ambak na lang, tagap-tag, murag surface na bitaw. So, sisumpay nila. What's their solution to that? Sa huli, di pa di solution. It's the diagnosis. Sa huli, hindi rin na-decongest ang curriculum sa 2013. Malinaw dito ang ugnayan ng content at ang learning competencies. Kaya naman, upang maging makatuwiran ang anumang pagbabagong pang-curriculum, kinakailangang bigyang pansin ang pagbuo ng mga pamantayang maaabot at maisa sa katuparan sa itinatakdang panahon o oras. Meaning, their target is really mahimong feasible ba? No? Meaning, hindi congested ako. Long tamas mahimo. Achievable sa ba? Diba? That's one of the basic principles in crafting learning objectives, that it's achievable or attainable within the given time frame, within the given resources available, di ba? So man na siya, impossible tong attainable kung ang curriculum mismo impossible ma-attain, no? So they tried to make it realistic. So unsaon makulo na? Sa kadaghan sa nahitabo sa history, how do you select which topics to focus on? Di ba? How do you solve that problem? Do you think? Recorded mo no? Di ko ka idugog sa inyong insight. So, sige lang. Daghang nasulat about that. How do you solve the problem of sa tanang possible aspects of history nga hisgutan? What's our criterion? Unsay standard kung unsay pilion nga unsay i-appeal no sa lesson? We call that the problem of quote historical significance. The problem of historical significance. And kinadaganan ang nasuwat about ana. And again, the most prominent scholar regarding that has just recently died no by the name of Peter Seixas sa Canada. The problem of historical significance, he says, is that problem nga kung naay part sa history that we do not give justice to, that's an immoral act because kita may contributor nga nung kalimtan to, di ba? Katong aspect of history. Pero po, daghan magud kaayo that katong mga aspects in history nga dapat ato matudlo, right? Nga maglisod taghata og justice to, right? Not only usas mga problema ana, mo to kuwang og time. Ikaduhang problema, kita mismo as teachers, of course, we admit that we lack the training to study everything, all of those details. For example, usa ra ka controversy, for example, asa man jud nahitabo ang first mass? Is it in Limasawa or is it in Butuan? Kana lang nga issue ha. It can take, for example, in my case, bilang buwan kung gatuon ana, reading the katong proceedings bitaw sa Mojares panel katong nag decide na gid ang national government nga mag-set up ang panel nga finalize gid kinsa man jud ang sakto katong mga taga Limasawa nga side o katong taga Butuan nga side. I had to read the book no nga gadebate sila and usara na siya ka very small question. Yeah, that sa klase in the actual classroom that you have to answer that in a few minutes, even a few seconds. Kumangutan ang bata, asa man jud ay sir? Ang first mass. Oh, nya ang imong gibasa debate nga usang pilang buwan kagabasa, right? That problem has to be solved, no? And they really tried their best to the curriculum makers really did their best to try to solve that. How? Sige na sila solusyon. Tanaw na to successful ba ni sila no? So, sa ilang solusyon, minarapat na gamitin ang prinsipyo ng pangunahing ideya. Big ideas. So na, big ideas ko no. Mo ko na ilang gi-target upang matugunan ang hamong ito. So, no? Instead of talking about ano bitong, the flow of history, every one detail to the next, one detail to the next. Instead, yung na, it is impossible. Impossible gina nimo mahuman. Sugod sa pre-colonial times hangtod karon, that's very impossible within just 3 years, no? Lisod. So what did they do? Ilan na lang gitawag o gi-focus ang pangunahing ideya, no? Or the big ideas. Unsa man ang mga big ideas? Example, authoritarianism sa martial law period. Democratic renewal. Freedom. Mga big ideas ba? Colonization, di ba? That's a big idea. So when we focus on the big ideas, my God, we automatically are able to organize. Not the principle of organization. It gives structure to the narration that we have or that we give regarding the events. Kung igor ka magyawit ana og mga events, mo ni ang mga date na without the big idea, without a structure that gives it coherence, why makatunan ang bata? Maggubot ra ng mga facts, mga dates sa iyang utok. But if you have a big idea like democracy, and then you structure your narration around that idea, no? Kasi sabi din ang demokrasy na nagsugod sa Pilipinas. Perhaps mingon ta nga nagsugod na sa American period kay ilang pas awat ang ilang democratic nga form didto. Is that really true? Democratic ba gito siya? So kana bitaw we can atras na taas no sa mga details. So at least if you begin with a big idea which triggers questions na maguna, ana na mosud to mga historical events. Unlike kung magsigira kang events, wala kay big idea, di ka mahuman. Wala pa jud kay direction. Right? So, tulad ng nabanggit sa pangkalahatang hugis ng curriculum, the general shaping paper, ang pangunahing ideya or big idea ay hinango sa panitikan, social literature at pag-aaral or studies tungkol sa edukasyong pang-matematika, particular ni Randall I. Charles. So, mo ni siya ang theorist no sa idea of big ideas no, sa education, pero sa mathematics education siya nga scholar. And in the field of araling palipunan daghan po na siya no nga similar ani. For example, ang magbalik-balik gid bitaw o appears of gold scholar when you look at research on social studies. The key figures are, for example, Sam Weinberg. Sam Weinberg published the book Historical Thinking and Other Unnatural Acts. Unya, that is a landmark book, Jud. You cannot finish a BS in Social Studies degree if wala ka kabasaan na. Because he has been arguing that kanang historical thinking, magunahuna ka about the past, it's an unnatural act. Dili sa natural. So therefore, dapat banggaon sa teacher of history ang mga naandan nga pattern sa utok sa mga bata about history. Kaya bitaw mo ambak ka kanang bad gid si ko. Bad gid ni nga historical figure kay nasi mga rason. No, as a historian, you must be careful because perhaps your judgment about the historical figure is biased rapod. Nakay beef with that historical figure because nakay personal lang nga kalagot niya or reason nga maglagot niya. So we try to frame no that bias contextually, di ba? With the context na actually basin og nasige po na nga side nga medyo undesirable niya, but on the other side dako po sig nahimo sa history, di ba? Or daghan po so like that. So we try to um break away from the natural ways of thinking about the past. So again, balik ko na ko. First name, ako ning isgutan later on, tagaan mo na ko greetings ani Sam Weinberg. Kaduha, ang major jud sa world no nga scholars in social studies. Kaduha is si Peter Seixas. And in, for example, in this article talking about historical thinking again, he was the one who was able to articulate a model of historical thinking wherein iyang gi-categorize ang historical thinking into contextualization, continuity and change over time, the ethical dimension, primary source evidence, blah blah blah. Sa na silang duha. There are many others pa gyud actually, but kanang silang duha in the previous decade ako kaya na sila papel. In the Philippines na po yung mga scholars diri, particularly those working on social studies education sa Diliman. Particularly, for example, si Dr. Lorina Kalingasan, daghan sa articles on the history of social studies education in the Philippines. Na po yung mga bagong tubo no nga scholars in the Philippines, Diliman for example, but currently teaching siya sa Don Mariano Marcos. His name is Dr. Arnie Dizon. Diliman po din siya nga trained but he's teaching in Mariano Marcos. Diri sa region na to, as far as I know, no, ang nag-research taman-taman sa social studies, nasa CNU dyan, no? Cebu Normal University. Particularly, for example, the dean there, my advisor, Dr. Inoshan, another people there. So, yeah, we're building on this tradition. Yeah. This tradition coheres with, arguably, the concept of big ideas sa mathematics education scholar nga si Randall I. Charles. So, yeah, we can find intermingling ng ideas talking about historical significance. So, alright. So, ako rin ang tagaan mo na ko og kanang lista ana ha katong magipangyayor later on. We're just talking about the general one, kanang anchor, theoretical anchor, which is Randall Charles. Alright. Ang ugnayang ito ay nagbibigay sa mga mag-aaral ng higit na kakayahang maunawaan at masuri ang esensyal na katangian ng isang pangyayari o pinomena. Dahil dito, higit na nagiging madali sa mga mag-aaral na iugnay ito sa ibang kaisipan, konteksto, karanasan at katanungang magbibigay ng karinawan at katuturan sa maraming bagay. Buto siya. If na kay big idea, tanan nga mga questions nga magsanga-sanga na siya, no? Ana masud ang history, ana masud sociology, di ba? Kay example, democracy. Daghan mo kay angle na. We can talk about its political dimension, di ba? We can talk about its economic dimension, anthropological dimension. So I think it's very wise to put that they're using this approach na naala big idea for the week. And everything else, subordinate na ana. So I think this is a promising attempt to solve the problem of the congestion of the curriculum. But we'll see kung unsa di mahitabo ana because pilot pa man ni karon, di ba? Or bago pa ni siya i-implement. Isa rin sa obserbasyon ay ang hindi consistent na pagkakasulat ng mga pamantayang pangnilalaman at pamantayan sa pagganap. So, dili kuno consistent ang writing sa content standards and performance standards. That's their observation. Dili ako gaingon na. It's the framers of the curriculum. And by the way, I agree jud ana, no, that dili gid siya clear pagkasulat. Katong at least the curriculum that we've been using sa student teaching ko, medyo lisod dito siya, no? Because usahay di magtunong, the content standards does not match with the performance standards. Mo na, I think this is a very valid observation by the current framers of the curriculum. So how do you make sure that the teaching of the content leads towards the performance, di ba? There needs to be congruence, consistency there. Yeah. Kabantay sila nga wala kuno ga-match katong sa previous curriculum. And personally, I agree. Sa usapin ng pamantayang pangnilalaman, hindi na ipakita kung anong knowledge dimension ang nais bigyang diin. Di ba? Bagamat may mga binabanggit na skills o kakayanan, hindi ito malinaw na nag-uugnay sa nilalaman ng unit. Wala ito. Na skills pero wag i-match sa content. Diba? Kung sa may alignment nila. Ganoon din ang nakitang suliranin sa pamantayan sa pagganap. Mayroong mga baitang na espesipiko ang produkto o gawaing dapat isa katuparan, samantalang ang iba naman ay malaya. So, dili consistent. Uban hyper-specific, uban na pod. Sobra na pod ka kuan. Kanang walay free ra, no? Walay guidance sa baton. Kaugnay rin nito, mayroong mga nakitang learning competencies na hindi tugma, no, sa pamantayan sa pagganap. Ang manigyan din na, no, wag match ang content sa competency or performance. Matatandaan na sa pagtukoy ng MELCs katuning pag kanang COVID, di ba, nga nag-shift na primarily to kanang modular sagaran sa basic ed. So, dapat i-congest, no? Matatandaan na sa pagtukoy ng MELCs, ang criteria na enduring ang pangunahing ginagamit na batayan sa pagpili. Meaning, ang focus during the period when the curriculum was focused on the MELCs, most essential learning outcomes, was where the enduring understandings, diba? Those competencies that will stay with the student throughout life, even if kanang outside sila sa classroom. That's the target. Ibig sabihin, ito ay mailalapat sa quote, real-life situation na makita sa pamamagitan ng performance task. Ang huli ay nakabatay lamang sa sinasabi ng pamantayan sa pagganap. Sa madaling salita, kailangang bigyang pansin ang mga learning competencies na hindi tugma sa pamantayan sa pagganap. Alignment. Constructive alignment. No? So, yeah, kita din sila daghang problema sa curriculum. No wonder, nagkalisod na sa palipunan, di ba? Kaya curriculum parang daan na ni problema. Next. I think we have to start, we end with, ano na lang, upat na lang mantingala ni ka-paragraph na bilin. Oh, yes. Gamay na lang. Sa usapin ng system assessment, ang Pilipinas ay bahagi ng Southeast Asia Primary Learning Metrics or CPLM, na kung saan isa sa mga pangunahing sinusukat ay ang kaalaman ng mga mag-aaral sa pagkamamayang global or global citizenship. Bagamat hindi nahuhuli ang mga Pilipinong mag-aaral sa usaping ito batay sa resulta ng CPLM, ninanais na higit pang mapayabong ang kakayahang ito na makatutulong sa pagpapanatili ng mapayapang ugnayan at kooperasyon sa pagitan ng mga bansa sa kasalukuyan at hinaharap higit lalo sa konteksto ng isang globalisadong panaigdig. So may nadugang na paragraph sa preceding paragraphs. So ganina they talked about how Arli Palipunan has this social function, no, to make students civic competent. So siya matangtang ilang apathy towards social issues, towards nationalism. That's one thing. Ikaduha na pod nga giingon is ang previous curriculum ko no ay mga mismatch, di ba? Inconsistency sa content standards and performance standards. Sila giingon. But now, ang giingon na pod is usa sa mga nakitang problema is kulang ang integration of global citizenship. The idea ba that we belong to the same cosmos. We call that cosmopolitanism. That we belong to the same in the same world, and therefore we are no longer trapped. No, our concerns should not be only the concerns within our own family, within our own barangay, but the concerns of the world as a whole. And that's actually the contribution of Bertrand Russell pod, talking about the value of the humanities, no, especially philosophy. Nga it ang iyang gigon na is the humanities no apil sa social science, social studies remove us from the trap, from the prison nga we're just concerned with unsay makapalingaw nako personally. Kaya ang resulta mo na if what concerns you throughout your life is only what makes me, myself, the individual, happy, when we die, asa naman ta? Wala na enduring significance, right? Everything will go away. At least if you dedicate your life to something bigger than yourself, like to the country or to the church or to the world, then at least after you die, lagi po yung mabilin, di ba? Nga murag na anak kay legacy nga nabilin. Of course, it's not a perfect motivation to do it, but at least something in you remains after you die. Because throughout your life, dili ra imuhang lingaw-lingaw, imuhang concernan, right? You're giving yourself to a world that's bigger than you. Okay? That's global citizenship. And when I target po ani nga i-integrate ani nga new curriculum. Gamit ang nabanggit na mga konsiderasyon at batayan, papagyamanin ang kasalukuyang version ng Arali Palipunan, particular sa third key stage or key stage 3. Ang ikapitong baitang na nakatuon sa pag-aaral ng Asya ay higit na padiigtingin sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay focus sa ugnayan ng Pilipinas sa karating bansa nito sa Timog Silangang Asya. Habang ang ikwalong baitang ay masusing bibigyang pansin ang ugnayan ng Asya daigdig. So many changes, no? Sa grade 7 sa una, it's only Asian Studies. But karon gihimo na siyang Pilipinas sa Timog Silangang Asya. Sa una, ang grade 8 is only World History. Pero karon gihimo na siyang Asya at daigdig. Asia and the world. So, medyo ka na siya. Malagi ito, expanding horizons model ba? Malagi gamit ka. Layunin nito na mabigyang lalim ang pagtalakay, pagsusuri at pag-unawa sa mas limuot na ugnayan na bansa, Asya at ng daigdig. So, mana, the concept of sharedness, no? Mo di ginigibalik-balik sa UNESCO. That notwithstanding the differences in the variety in the political structures, cultures, no, religions across different countries in Asia, for example, nating commonalities, no? That we share the same challenges, notwithstanding the variety in how we adapt to challenges. Last paragraph, finally. No? Samantala, ang ikasyam na baitang ay tutugon sa mga batayang kaisipan ng economics tungo sa likas kayang pag-unlad. By the way, nasa ko sa una, unsay pasabot ang likas kaya. Akong research, that simply means sustainable. Sustainable. So, likas kaya meaning kaya sa likas na yaman, di ba? So, kaya sa actual resources na available. So, development should be sustainable. And economics should be taught in a way, according to this curriculum, that it should prioritize sustainable development. Dili lang development for the sake of industrialization, diba? That sacrifices the environment. Actually, that's a very challenging issue na po because if we face the reality, kung third world country ka like the Philippines, magsigag paki-paki sa environmental sana consideration sa imong policies, didyo ka kaapa sa Europe. Magpabilin kang pobre for a long time because the cheapest energy jud kay coal jud. Coal. Pero ang coal gid pud problematic kina siya because wala gina non-renewable sa energy makaguba sa um tungod kay grabe ang production of greenhouse gases, di ba? So, it's very unsustainable. But it's the only way na ang Pilipinas po medyo dili na magkalisod pareha na to karon. We rely on coal, di ba? Is there a way out? That's the challenge of economics. In economics, we don't just teach supply and demand. That's very basic. The concepts of principle of the law of diminishing marginal utility, kada mga concept diha, they're only secondary. Ang primary yun, how do we develop as a country in a way that prioritizes, yes, development, because kalisod man ta, because we live in poverty, but at the same time, does not sacrifice the resources that we have for the future generations. Nga makagamit pa sila. That's what sustainable development means. Meaning, makasustain siya, dili lang atong generation makagamit, but even succeeding generations makagamit sad. That's the challenge of economics. And narabay ginagma economics sa grade 4. Imagine, how do you teach that concept to grade 4? Ilan man nagibutang sa grade 4? Although, yes, okay ra pud na because it will be repeated more intensively sa grade 9. Inaasahan na pagyayamanin nito ang kaalaman at kakayanan ng mga mag-aaral sa pagsusuri at pagtugon sa mga isyong pangkabuhayan, may ituwirang ugnayan sa kanilang buhay. Samantala, mananatili ang kontemporaryong issue for grade 10. No? Contemporary issues and mga hamong palipunan, social problems. So, contemporary issues and social problems mo na subjects sa palipunan for grade 10. Ngunit, paiigtingin ang mga paksang lokal at global na naka-aapekto sa kasalukuyang kalagayan ng mag-aaral kasama ang kanilang kinabibilangang komunidad. Sentro ng pagpapayaman ng kurikulum ng palipunan ang paggamit ng mga prinsipyo ng edukasyong pansibiko. Inaasahan na ang mga pagbabagong ito ay higit na makatutulong sa paghubog ng produktibong mamayang Pilipino na may malalim na pagmamahal sa bansa natin. Okay? Itaas gito siya, no? But we need really, I think, to have read that. I think kamo nga, taking the subject teaching SOCSTAD, di ba, in intermediate grades, at least makabasa mo ito because no matter how boring it might be, it's very necessary because it gives you the rationale, the framework ba, nga nung ingon ani ang porma sa curriculum. Next meeting, we'll talk about the very specifics na jud. Unsa man jud dagan ang daloy nilang daloy sa araling panlipunan from grade 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, 8, 9, 10. And kaya ba kung nanamoy activity ginagmay na before, and we'll be revisiting that because the only coverage that I'll give you for the midterms is only this curriculum guide, this 76-page curriculum guide. I want you to master this one. Okay? And for finals, ano to? Inyo na nang i-apply. Mag-demo teaching ta, no? I'll be assigning you a week, for example, to demonstrate in class. Right? That's for the finals. Base lagi po na sa aning curriculum guide. Alright, I hope you understood something, you learned something. Of course, what I really hope is this will trigger in you some questions. Nga inig on-site na to pohon, we can talk about possible answers to those questions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.